Welcome to Soul Play. Enjoy.
Soul Play.
Hey guys, welcome to Sound Lab. And today we're going to talk a little bit about voice manipulation. And I wanted to show you my go-to or favorite plugin for that purpose, Little Altar Boy by Sound Toys. And I'll also give you some examples of how we used to do it in the early days. So when I talk about the website SoulPlay, it always comes up, how do I do my character voices and that type of thing. So at any rate, we'll look at Truly, which she's the introduction girl you've seen at the beginning of the video that says,
Welcome to Soul Play. Enjoy.
so how we did that was we used Little Altar Boy by Sound Toys. And you might say, well, SoulPlay, why don't you just use the built-in plugin, the transpose and tune, which is essentially these same knobs here. And I do occasionally do that. A lot of times I'll go here first, and then I'll go to the Little Altar Boy, and in conjunction with or without, I can come up with the sound that I'm after. There's a much more control here with Sound Toys with the additional, with the drive. If you need to bring something up in the mix, and right here you're wet, you're dry and wet. You can hear the original signal. It's sort of like a doubler. There, I never really use it, but you've got your you got presets to go by here and try them out, and it can give you a starting point. Okay, so let's listen to the unedited version, and we'll bypass Little Altar Boy, and we can hear, it's actually me, and we'll hear what that sounds like.
Welcome to Soul Play. Enjoy. Welcome to Soul Play. Enjoy.
So that sounds a little. I of course tried to sound feminine, tighten the vocal cords, and that helps as you when you're trying to manipulate the voice with anything. So at any rate, that was the sound, and with Little Altar Boy, we were able to come up with this, which
Welcome to Soul Play. Enjoy.
which sounds pretty convincing to me, or at least enough that if I didn't tell you it wasn't a female voice, you probably wouldn't know. So, at any rate, you may be curious about her signal chain, and we won't get into everything here. That would be out of the scope of this video. But first, we have the fat channel doing some EQ and compression, and then we have our Little Altar Boy plugin doing the heavy work, and I also used the Waves plugin to get an EQ curve that brings it right where I want it to be. And so at any rate, that's how we do the Truly's voice. Now let's take a look at Darwin. And let's see. He's got a lot in this chain, don't he? So, and Darwin is our master of ceremonies, which introduces the band Intervelocity's songs. And we'll take a look at how that sounds.
Intervelocity performs
Hold me.
Okay, let's bypass that signal and or the little Ultra Boy and hear what I sound like without that plug-in going.
Inner velocity performs. Hold me. Inner velocity performs. Hold me.
So of course I wanted to alter that to some degree so it would be more fitting for that character Darwin. And now let's, out of curiosity, let's see if we used the transpose and tune. No, we didn't. If we look at the little Ultra Boy, basically you have a pitch control here, and they can be linked. And in other words, they'll work in. I don't want to change these settings, but they'll work in conjunction with each other. You turn one, it'll turn the other one. The pitch knob here is basically an octave below or above the source, and so it'll go like 12 semitones below or above your source. And this format knob here, that basically what that's going to do is if you turn it counterclockwise this direction, you're gonna lower or it'll be more of they actually call this the gender button or knob, and counterclockwise it's going to be more male or lower in format, and to the right or clockwise it's higher or more female type of sound. So in the mode section, transpose would be your normal position with no correction, essentially to the pitch. Whereas quantize, if you have this pitch knob set to 0 straight up, I believe, yeah, and here it will correct to the nearest semitone, and in conjunction with the drive knob here, you can get the vocoder effect, and of course with robot here, in this mode it's just tuned. If your knob's at 0, it would be locked to 1 octave higher than your original tone. And then, so of course, if you move that, that's gonna shift that. And we have our saturation knob here, and our mix is just simply between the dry signal before the plug-in and the wet, somewhere over in this area you can get your doubled effect where you're hearing the original's tone and with whatever pitch or any other settings you have over here. So it's a real simple plugin. I really like it. It does the job. It's always worked for me, where many other plugins didn't quite come up to what I wanted to do. So I really like it. Now let's look at one more example here. Hang on. Oh, let's see. Before we do that, let's look at, we might be curious about Darwin's signal chain. So first we have the Fab filter. It's an EQ, and then we have de-esser, and apparently there was some sibilance in my voice, or I wanted to cut something out. I can't remember why I did it. And the fat channel here, we're doing some compression, and then we have Fab filter saturation. This is warming the tone up, and then we have the little Ultra Boy, which is changing the pitch, and we're tightening the vocal cords here just a little bit, with some additional drive, which is the same thing we're doing here with the saturation. We're putting in a little warm tape with that. Just a hint to get to the tone we like. And then the only other plugins from this channel, then it goes into the master here, and we just have a pillow on top, and then the level meter, which that doesn't do anything to the tone, of course, which is this right here. And I just always want to keep an eye on my output, and I always mix into a what I call a pillow on top, the limiter, and that just keeps you from tearing up your speakers. Okay, so let's look at one more example. Okay, guys, now we're going to take a look at sort of the opposite, and let me give you an idea of what we're doing here. We'll just play the pre-chorus.
Playing your love fool. Take me away, yeah. Playing your love fool.
Okay, so what we're looking at here is this male voice here. This is the track, and let me solo that for you.
Playing your love fool.
Okay, so what we did was the opposite here. Actually, if we bypass the little altar boy and hear what we got.
Playing your love fool.
So you can see that's actually a female. And my color code for male and female is always pink or red or something for female voices, and blue for boys. And at any rate, this is a song called Play Your Love Fool. Play Your Love Fool. And Play Your Love Fool, whatever. And so that's one of our songs. This is a mix from one of our songs. But basically looking at the chain, and we'll put that back where it was. You have a de-esser, sibilant problem there apparently, and fat channel. We're doing our compression. There's a gate involved and some EQ, and then we have a little reverb on this one, and then the little altar boy. And if you read the instructions, it says to put the little altar boy first, or the clean signal, but that's just where it needed to be in the chain. I only go by sound and what I'm after. It wouldn't matter to me if there was 10 plugins up here. It's whatever it takes to get what I'm after. So in this case, let me just play it for you one more time. Let's see, we're soloed and we have the little altar boy engaged, and let's get to the beginning.
Playing your love fool.
So what it was for that part, and well, there's a lot going on here. I don't want to confuse you, but to complete the song, I really wanted a deep black voice on there, and so basically we took the female voice there and altered it with Little Altar Boy. And I'll just give it to you one more time for the full effect. Here's the pre-chorus.
Playing your love fool. Take me away, yeah.
So at any rate, eventually this will I'll have a animated video with this song and down the road, and you can check it out on the website SoulPlay. Also, in addition to this this part of the chain on that voice. Then of course it goes into the master channel and are the mains, and we have the T-Rex EQ, and then we're going into the let's get it up there, the soft tube leveling amplifier with a full range equalizer, and then post fader is of course our pillow, and the level meter that you see here. Looking at the correlation here too.
Playing your love fool.
And so at any rate, that gives us an idea of what we can do with the little Ultra Boy plugin. It does many things. I use it in a lot of different ways. We could go on and on, but it is a wonderful plugin. I do recommend it. And now I did want to show you, since we're talking about voice manipulation, I wanted to give you some examples of what we did years ago. So let's take a look at that. Okay guys, let me, what I wanted to show you was that this is a song that I did a number of years ago. I played all the instruments and vocal work and everything. And it was actually the first time I played drums in the studio. And it was recorded at our Trigen Sound Lab. But in this case, this example here is coming from a cassette tape that when I tried to capture it to my computer here, my old tape deck cassette player, the motors were wore out, and so what I had to do was take actually another boom box, but it didn't have any outlets like RCA out or anything like that. So I used actually I'm coming from the headphone out into the RCAs of my old tape recorder, and then I have a tape in the record side that's like it's on pause and it's set to record, and then coming out of the record RCAs going into my into my breakout box. It's coming from those RCA outs. And so what you've got is a lot of noise in the signal and a lot of problems. And so at any rate, and I'll show you how I've fixed a little bit that, put a little bit life back into it. But let me play the song for you and give you an idea what we've got going on here. It is the song's called "Hold It," and so it's a little bit of a it might put you in the frame of mind of something dirty, and that's exactly what I was thinking. I was probably 17 or 18 when I did this, but here we go.
Hold it. When you walk by, you look so fine. So I ask you to hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it. Now, your lips of wine next to mine will be so fine now. Hold it, hold it.
Okay, so sounded like a bro there, didn't I? Yeah, it just didn't work with my cracker voice going, and but at any rate, that shows you how we used to do it in the old days. Let's take a look at our signal chain here. Of course, like I say, this is coming from a cassette, and it was it needed to get its life back into it. Come through the headphone out, and everything. So at any rate, we're using a passive EQ here. What I like about the passive EQ, this is from Waves, by the way, and when you increase a frequency, you're decreasing the surrounding frequencies. So that's I figured that's what I needed to do to get a little more life in it without trying to surgically go in there, because it's an awful recording at this point coming off of a cassette. So we have that, and then we're going into this plug-in, and if they're both not on, it don't sound as good. Not that it's great anyway at this point, but basically this plug-in, the vinyl stereo from Abbey Road, I'm using the desk and the print, which in other words, this is like, this plug-in gives you that sound of the cutting lathe at Abbey Road Studio, and if you put it on this one, the lacquer, that's like it would be like if you was at Abbey Road, and then this print is like when it comes back from a print house, and we're not getting into the whole plug-in here, but I'm essentially not using any of the noise or anything. It's got plenty of that. It's naturally on there anyway from the cassette. And this just brings a little bit more life back into it. I do have it like I'm driving it a little bit, and this will give you a little distortion. And what else do we have going here? Little phase distortion. And just to bring a little character back to the song, because it was pretty hideous to begin with, coming from the cassette, and then of course that's all that's on there that I've done, and then of course we got our pillow on the main here, and I could actually, might as well while we're doing it, show you how. Or one more example, the method or technique that we utilized to do this song, Hold It. Basically, I can remember to this day, looking back over my shoulder at Dave, my cousin, and we had I was at the desk next to Dwight, my cousin, and but looking back at Dave. The reel-to-reel machines were behind us in the control room there, and on the reel-to-reel machine, it did have a tape speed, and at the lowest setting, it wasn't quite low enough to get that vocal to the pitch that we wanted. So Dave put two fingers on the reel-to-reel itself, the actual reel that holds the tape, and slowed down those motors just to that proper pitch throughout that whole song. He had to hold that pressure to hold those motors back to lower the pitch of that voice. But at any rate, that's how we did it in the old days, before plugins like Little Altar Boy, and it was a lot different in those days. It was really, I do miss. Mixed down. A lot of times it took 3 or 4 of us to do each little part. Somebody might be riding a couple of volumes and bringing in and out instruments and flipping switches and whatever. It was quite an orchestration, and that was the type of mix down you would do in a full analog control room, and back in the old days, which was it was really a lot of fun, and I do miss that. But at any rate, let's pull up. I'll show you import file. One more example of voice manipulation. Let's see, that didn't work. So there you go. The lower voice was done with that same method of slowing down the reel-to-reel machine. Like I say, that's the way we did it back in the day, and I just wanted to give you some examples there. Hope you enjoyed, and come back to the channel. And I'm by no means real fast about getting up new videos, but if you like and subscribe, that'll automatically let you know when I have something new for you. And we'll basically, what I'll do in the with the Sound Lab series here, that'll be, I'll have a playlist for that as we add videos, and we'll put all of our audio related whatever it would be, plugins, musical instruments, gear, whatever ends up on the channel, and as we do future videos. So at any rate, guys, I hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you next time for another episode of Sound Lab. And by the way, the reason we call it Sound Lab is just to our old recording studio is called Trigen Sound Lab, which means three gentons, and Trigen. And so just in honor of my cousins, I'll call this segment of videos the Sound Lab. And like I say, you can find all of our plugins. I really enjoy plugins, so there might be things I can show you, and hopefully you get something out of it that you can use in your own work. But at any rate, have a good day, guys, and we'll talk to you next time.
I'll see you next time, player. Bye.
Soul Play.